Alright everybody, so I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of some of the features of the motorhome so you can look at these videos, check them out when you're on the road. Please watch the video before you call me, but I am happy to help anytime you're renting our RV. These chairs both have a lever on the side, so they will swivel around. And make sure you check the back. You might need to put the back up to get it to turn correctly. The latch is on the underside on the right on both of these. And then when you're using this chair, if you do end up reclining it, make sure you put it up before you pull the slide in, because you will contact that and cause damage, and we don't want that. All right, and we'll go on for some next. All right, and so here's the bed. It's on hydraulics, it's not gonna fall on you. There's a little latch on this side, so you push up, and then that's gonna come down a little bit. And then on this side, same thing, little latch on the outside, push up a little bit. Then it's released. See, it's not gonna fall. Like I said, it's not gonna fall. And we've actually used this as our privacy before. If you don't have a ton of people right on top of you, it does pretty well. And then if you have the seats turned around, yeah. So, and then if you want to use it as a bed, you pull it down. And some people like to have it like this, and then they just, put some clothes and stuff up here. If there's nobody sleeping up here, you can kind of use it for storage if you need to. Alright, I'm going to stow this behind the recliners here, but this is just a sunscreen kind of thing, so when you're parked you can put this up over the windshield, keep some heat out, and also for privacy. So I stow this back here. There's also a curtain rod that you can put across the top on these screws. There's some spots to put a curtain rod across there. The parts are in a little baggie in here as well. You put a curtain rod, and then there's a curtain that you can hang if you want to do that. And then the last option would be to use this. Go ahead and pause, I'll do another one. All right, we're in the cockpit area, and you can see the Garmin right there. So what we do is we unplug the little DC. You plug it in, it's gonna come on automatically. And then when you want your partner or whoever's sitting in the driver's seat to look something up for you, you can just pop it off and hand it to them, and it's held on by these magnets. And that is really handy. If you have more questions about that, you can ask me, or you can look up. Garmin has videos for this one as well. Then when you're done with it, we'll wait until it boots up. But I do have it programmed for motorhome, so it will try to take you on highways. It shouldn't take you under low clearances, and try to give you some help there while you're driving for safety. And here it is. I normally just hit the where to, and then it's going to connect to my phone. And after that, you put in an address, and then you can select different routes and things like that. Lots of things to play with, lots of features. So we're in Hendersonville. We're in the motorhome, perfect. We hit where to, and let's say we go to like a recent, something we did recently that loves travel stop. If you hit this button here, this on the top right, it's gonna take you and give you 2 routes. And then you can pick your route. And then you can check on your phone also to see if maybe that's something you want to do. And again, this is going to try to take you on the highway mostly to avoid traffic and low clearances, trees, stuff like that. When you're done with the Garmin, I do recommend you go ahead and pop this out down here. Then you hold the power button, which is on the side right here. Hold that down to power it off. Now, as you saw on the bottom of the screen there, it is voice activated, so you could say, "Hey Garmin, take me home," and it should pull that up for you. So you can voice activate it by saying, "Hey Garmin," and that's pretty helpful. Cool. Over on this side, we have the power levelers. When you get to your parking space, what you do is you press the on button, and that's gonna turn it on. And then you wait, and so it's doing a little level check. What you wanna make sure you don't do is have people in here and out of here, in here and out of here, moving around. It's a sensitive level. So you want to just have one person in here being still, or everybody just chill. Now you can see it says left and rear. That's where it detects that it needs to move the left and the rear up. So all you do is you press auto, and that's going to level the rig out, and we'll go ahead and do it. And it does take a couple minutes. I pressed auto up there on the left. Let me get the camera a little closer. So now those jacks are all going down right now. And I'll be back. All right, so what you're gonna notice is it does say wait and jacks are down. The jacks are doing their job. The rear has been raised to level it out. Now the left side is getting raised to help level it. And you'll see it's kind of does a little bit, tries a little bit more, does a little bit. So it kind of moves around quite a bit. And if you need to, you can always pull the jacks up and then just do manual. I don't recommend that, but if you need to, it's okay. And so it's putting down another one. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video. Once it's level, it should have a little green blinking light in the middle. And that's about as level as the coach is gonna be able to get you, but you also have your jacks down. So it's nice because the coach is way more stable when you're walking around. So that's helpful as well. When you're done with the jacks and you're ready to go, you just turn it, make sure you turn it on. Right now I turned it off, so now you don't see anything. We're ready to go on the road again. Press on, it's gonna have you wait again. It's gonna detect where all the jacks are. And note the little note here, it says the engine is running. You want the engine running, which it is, and you want the parking brake on, or this isn't gonna work correctly. So make sure you have your engine running and your parking brake on. So now it's showing we have jacks down. We're left a little bit, but the jacks are down. We're ready to go. So we're gonna hit all jacks, retract, and then it's gonna pull up all the jacks, and then you just need to wait. You just wait until it's all done. Takes a minute or two. So I'm gonna cut this and show you in a second. Okay, we're back at the jacks, and now again, we just retracted them. It's showing that we're not quite level here, but that's okay because our jacks are up, we're on the tires, and now we're ready to roll. Everything's up. It doesn't say wait, it doesn't say jacks down, so we're ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and hit off, just turn the system off. All right, so for the dinette, underneath the dinette table, pops out, and then you can unscrew this and take this leg out. A good place to store this is under the bed or on the other side of the bed. Then we've got some little legs that go here. They're right here. They're up here in the bin. So you put the three legs in, and then it rests on this guy right here. Go hand down. And then you move the cushions around and it creates a bed down there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this table back. And the table can go either way. It can go, it can turn if you need to turn it. Another note here is you see this light is on for the auxiliary batteries, and that's running off this little thing that tells you it's at 100 right now. You need to have the auxiliary battery on with this indicator light to use the generator. When you do want to turn the generator on, you hold it to off for 10 seconds. You'll see the little generator screen above it doing some things. It tells you the hours. Usually you'll hear something click. But anyways, you want to hold that for 10 seconds, count to 10, and then you hold down the on, and that fires up the generator. And then when you're done, turn the generator off. And you'll hear it go off. And then if you're done in the inside here, go ahead and turn this off so it's not just having like 12 volt just running down the battery bank. You can just turn that off because you're not going to be using it. There you go. And then there's also a jack right here. It goes to one of the storage units outside if they do have cable Wi-Fi or cable TV at the campsite and you want to hook up to that. We've never actually used it. I cannot verify that that works. Never used it. It is there if you do want to try to use it. Back over to this side, we have the awning we already talked about. Up here is your entry light, and that's actually the main lights to the cab. You see those on up there, off, on. All right, so that entry light right there is gonna be for your lights in this area. Entry step, and then the porch. The porch is right outside the door there. I don't know if we use, the entry step is for the step to go in and out when you close the door. Currently, we disabled that because people kept breaking it. So we have the little step down here that you can use, and it actually works a lot better and it's a lot more stable than the one that was kicking out. Then lastly, lights on and off. We have a light on. All right, and then moving on the power panel or the control panel, you've got these little buttons where it says fresh, gray, and black. These three are not hooked up. If they were, it'd be great, but they're not hooked up, never were. So we got fresh tank, press that. We're about half full on the fresh tank. You can see that right there. All right, on the gray tank, we're empty. And on the black tank, it says half. We did go try to empty it today and not a lot came out. So what I'm gonna do is put some extra treatment in there. And then when it gets driven down the road, the next time somebody goes to dump that, it goes down to a quarter. There's a little blockage in there, but it is working correctly, so we're good there. We'll just put a little extra treatment in there and should loosen that up as it gets driven down the road and empty it out next time. This is the power control system. Right now we have the generator on, so it's registering. We've got 33 amps. You can scroll through and see, okay, there's power for each of these items, so they're ready to go. Right now we're only pulling a couple of amps, not a whole lot, and the generator is running. So that's all you really need to know there. You can check and see when you're plugged in to make sure you're getting those amps from the campground, and it should read 30, and go from there. All right, this is the control panel. See our generator, and it's got its hours going right here. You can see the generator is on, auxiliary battery is on, water heater is off, water heater from the gas is off. We're just gonna be using electric most of the time, so this is the only one you'll need to use. You have to have water in the water heater to use it, so make sure that we've got water in the tanks. If you run all the water out of the tanks, all the water out of the water heater, you'll damage the water heater. So just be sure that you've got water in the system for the water heater. And here's the water pump. The water pump's on demand. Turn it on when you need it, turn it off when you don't. And I'll talk about the rest in a second. All right, we've got our AC controls here. You just want to put it on a temp, go to cool, and go from there. Usually do high on the fan and leave it on auto, and it will regulate just like your home one. If it's really hot outside, it's going to probably stay on a lot. This switch, don't worry about this. This goes to an outdated system that was here when we bought the rig. It's on the roof, so don't worry about this switch. And then this is your slide out controls. We'll talk in depth about that later. The tank heater is just what it sounds like if you're in cold weather, which isn't very likely. I don't do a lot of rentals in cold weather, but the tank heater is to help keep the tanks warm when it's cold outside, so they don't want to break a bunch of lines and your water and stuff still work. And then this last little guy, this is actually a propane tank measure, but I don't have that hooked up because you're responsible for your own propane tanks, and it's on my propane tank, so that you don't need to worry. All right, this little Victron Energy thing is going to tell us what kind of amps and stuff we've got going on for our battery bank. We have a small battery bank. We're at 100%, so we're good. If you go park somewhere and you're running a bunch of stuff inside off a 12 volt, sorry, now you can see it a little better. If you're parked somewhere and you're running all this 12 volt stuff and you take these batteries down and kill them, obviously that's a problem and nothing's gonna work. You won't even be able to turn the generator on because that's what it uses to turn the generator on. So you run the engine and get out of there, but it's gonna be hard to use anything else in the coach. So make sure, you don't really need to keep an eye on this if you're plugged in. I wouldn't really worry about it. But if you are doing a lot of travel days, you'll wanna keep an eye on that. So now we're going to look at this TV. The remotes are going to be either above the door or they're going to be in the bin and the overhead. So this TV has this little pull here. It is kind of tough at first, but you kind of get the hang of it. You pull it down like so. If you push back on the TV a little bit, it helps a little bit. And then this TV will swivel out. And then you just have to be really careful to remember when you're putting it back. Just be careful when you're putting it back to put it back before you drive down the road, or it's going to slam all over the place and it might break. Alright, so right now you can see the slide is out. We're about to put it in. So first thing you want to check is make sure the seat is up far enough to where you're going to have clearance from the slide here to get past the seat. So we're also going to move this vacuum because that would hit. And then, so you'll look there. You want to make sure that these, there's no obstructions on the ground. And then you want to look all the way back, and we've got a little burner down here. This is for electric burner for cooking, which is really handy. And then there's also a broom that folds down with the dustpan. So yeah, we want to check the floor all the way back to make sure there's nothing on the floor that's going to get caught under the slide that could cause any damage. And then we do have the generator on right now, so it's a little louder, but we want to make it nice and cool in here. But yeah, we're going to bring this slide in and then we'll show you some stuff outside. Okay, this is the section under the sink. We've got some cleaning supplies and stuff down here, and then there are some plugs if you want to use that electric cooktop in here, and you can plug in right there. And here's some water and heater bypass stuff. Like, you shouldn't have to worry about that. That's for when I go to winterize the unit. And then there's also storage underneath the stove. Lots of storage for like bigger pots, pans, and stuff like that. And again, if you bring some extra towels, you can kind of jam that kind of stuff in between all your pots and pans, and that'll keep everything from rattling like crazy on you. And when you want to use the fridge, it's got a little push lever. You push that, and that's how you open it. Right? There is not a temperature setting on the fridge. It's set at the factory, so it's colder at the top in the fridge and a little bit warmer at the bottom in the fridge. So that's how that runs. So don't put, eggs in the top because they will freeze. We found that out. But you could put some water bottles or some drinks up there, and they'll be really cold when you go to get them. That's super fun to use, and I'll show you the buttons here in a second. All right, to operate the fridge, you come over here. We've got the generator on right now, and this button is popped up. You can kind of see that. Okay, so that's off. And we're not gonna use gas. We're going to use the electric generator. So we're gonna hit the on button, and then it's gonna go to auto, and now your freezer is gonna start to cool. It kicks on the compressor and it starts to work. And usually I turn that on the night before we're trying to leave. And if you're a guest, I'll try to have it on the night before to keep it all cold so it's ready for your stuff the next day. Turn it off. All right, back on the fridge. Now, if you turn this on and this light is blinking check, and you have the generator on, or you have plug-in at your site and it's blinking check, just turn it off, give it a couple of seconds and turn it back on. And those instructions are also on this label inside the door of the freezer. Okay, so we have good storage here. There's 3 drawers. They should click shut, so when you're going down the road, they don't pop out at you. Same thing with your storage cabinets here. There's a microwave, overhead fan for your stove. Again, we prefer to use the small electric one if you're camping. To use the stove, you're gonna flip this back, turn the gas on. You should hear the gas, like coming through, and then you click the spark, and you want to light the front one first. And then the microwave, you might want to check to make sure that your glass is in a good spot, or you can put a towel or something in here, because when you're going down the road, this might be rattling at you, and you want to make sure to keep it quiet as you can. Then you have a sink here. We normally put like soap and stuff. You just like put it in the sink while you're traveling, because then it's not just like flying off the cabinet. When you are in like travel mode, you want to empty this counter space, because this, when you hit a brakes hard, a little harder than normal, this stuff might be like flying in people or flying all over the floor, get jammed under the slide. So you want to keep everything you can contained. Okay, so the second compartment here, this compartment is the one that's going to have all your stuff for you to empty the tanks. There's gloves, extra towels. This is the little runner. It goes high to low, like taller to shorter, so you can hook up when you get to camp. And then we have these connectors. So this connector, it'll take you from a 30 amp down to a plug-in for a 120, 110. So this is just like your regular household extension cord. This is what you're going to use at your house if you get it a day early. So you can plug it in, turn on the air conditioner and the fridge. So the fridge will get cold overnight for you. All right, and then if you can see under here, this is where we're plugged into the generator right now. So this is the plug. You're gonna unplug, go through the hole in the bottom here, and then take that out. There's a little hole here, and take that out so you don't have this bay open when you're at your campsite. So you can pull this, take it underneath there, and then plug that into the post at the campsite. You always want to check the campsite and make sure that it's, the breaker is off. You plug your 30 amp in, then you flip it on, and then it's going to register on the coach, and you should be good to go. All right, and then the next bay is our tank bay. This is where we're going to spin this off. You hook your hose up, take your hose up underneath, hook it on, then you turn this down. You're gonna do a little bit of gray first, just to make sure you don't have any leaks after you've hooked up to your to where your hose is going. A little bit of gray first, and close it just to make sure that water is going through and everything looks all right. Then you're gonna do your black tank. Once the black tank's done, close the black tank. Then you do your full gray tank, and then you can do some rinsing off and stuff like that in the video we did yesterday. Yeah, so that's the tank. That's how to clear the tanks. All right, so this first compartment here, this is actually for the hydraulics for the levelers. It's a closed system, so you shouldn't ever have to deal with that when you're renting. If you have to have an RV repair guy or something come to fix them, you would use that, but you don't really need to worry about that. Okay, you'll also notice on the wall we do have a speaker here. And so there's another speaker down there. So when you are using the radio on exterior mode, it's going to go from the radio in the dash to these speakers. I just replaced those this season, so they sound pretty good. Next, this is the exterior of the furnace. This can blow a bunch of hot air when you're using the furnace. And then here, we have a 50-inch TV. There is a way to hook up an HDMI out here. I do recommend just using the one inside because it's wired and it has a label on it that says exterior, so you can hook up an HDMI to the TV outside. The remotes are inside as well. All right, your first compartment right by the door, it's gonna be a storage compartment. You can fit pretty good amount of storage in here. We usually try to put stuff that might get dirty out here because there's lots of room inside to put clothes and stuff. We might have chairs and stuff like that. The next one, this is our propane area. This takes the regular propane tank, so you can get it like Home Depot. I'm gonna grab one. Okay, so it takes the normal little 20-pounder from, like Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, anywhere, and then you can put two of these side by side in here, and then this is the regulator, and you pick which side. You can pick the left side or the right side and have that tank open until you're ready for the next one. So these go in. It's pretty self-explanatory once you start putting them in there, how they work and how they get set up. So you spin the little nut off the top, and then there's a little stabilizer bar. I'm not gonna do it right now, but if you're gonna put two tanks in there, they are kind of frustrating to put in there when they're full, kind of heavy. They fit like a very certain way. So not my favorite setup, but it does work just fine. You will need propane for the furnace, and you need propane for the stove inside. We do include an electric burner, so you don't have to use the stove. And then if it's hot outside, obviously you don't need the furnace. If it's cold, you can also, if you have hookups or you're plugged in or the generator's on, you can plug in a space heater, and that works pretty well too. This is called a potable water fill. It's just a regular water fill, so you can just put your hose here and put water in the water tank that you're going to be using for showers and dishes and things like that. The next thing is the outdoor kitchen. And as you can see, there's a little latch. If you can see the latch, there's a little latch here. Please use the latch. It latches onto the back of the door. It'll keep the door from slamming shut or hitting you or whatever. Here's a little countertop. You can actually put that little stove out here or put it on a picnic table or whatever, and plug in the stove to cook outside. Then we got a little mini fridge, a microwave, and then this sink. This sink's really handy. You can wash your hands while you're outside and dirty. And then there's some storage here and a little bit of storage back there. And we move to next. This is the hot water heater access. You shouldn't really have to mess with that. But yeah, this is the hot water heater access. If you see something going on here that's kind of crazy, or like if there's, you'll know if there's a problem. But yeah, this should just be closed all the time. These two are for the fridge. These are just venting for the fridge. Shouldn't mess with those at all either. Back here you've got your gas. So when you're pulling in, you just want to get past your tire, and then you'll be able to get the back tire, and then you'll be able to get your gas tank. And this is the generator cover right here. Again, you shouldn't have to mess with that either. Okay, so the second compartment here, this compartment is the one that's going to have all your stuff for you to empty the tanks. There's gloves, extra towels. This is the little runner. It goes high to low, like taller to shorter, so you can hook up when you get to camp. And then we have these connectors. So this connector, it'll take you from a 30 amp down to a plug-in for a 120, 110. So this is just like your regular household extension cord. This is what you're going to use at your house if you get it a day early. So you can plug it in, turn on the air conditioner and the fridge. So the fridge will get cold overnight for you. All right, and then if you can see under here, this is where we're plugged into the generator right now. So this is the plug. You're gonna unplug, go through the hole in the bottom here, and then take that out. There's a little hole here, and take that out so you don't have this bay open when you're at your campsite. So you can pull this, take it underneath there, and then plug that into the post at the campsite. You always want to check the campsite and make sure that it's, the breaker is off. You plug your 30 amp in, then you flip it on, and then it's going to register on the coach, and you should be good to go. All right, these other pieces in here are if you had just a 50 amp at somebody's house or something, you're like, oh, well, we can plug into a 50 amp and then go down to a 30, and then same thing here, and then we do have an extension cable, and so you can go from a 30 amp like really far. I think it's a 20 foot, so you won't be like just stuck if you're parking, you know, a ways away, especially like on long driveways if you need to park a little bit further away. So lastly, you're going to have the sanity flush. I don't really need renters messing with that. That's just to like clean out the tanks, and we do that here at the house. And then the city water. So the city water is for when you have like the hose hooked up for your campsite. And so we're going to have a 90 degree. All right, so for your city water, if you're going to hook up the city water, then you don't have to have the water pump running. You're not using the tank water and filling that up all the time. So when you're using the city water, you're gonna have a hose, which we'll supply. You're gonna have a filter, which we'll supply, and then you're gonna have a 90-degree angle that we'll supply. So the 90-degree hangs off of here, then your hose, and then your filter goes at the very end, and then that hooks into the city water supply, and then that water is gonna go into the coach, and then that'll help you with your showers and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to use your tanks. All right, so we've got our cables down here. The living room TV is currently hooked up to a Roku, and the remote is up there. And then there's another HDMI, and this goes to the external TV. And then there's some stuff to plug in if you want to plug in the Roku. There's a plug right here on the seat. You need to use that. So you can hook that up and run your TV. Some people don't really watch a lot of TV while they're on the road. I've had lots of people not even turn it on. Yeah, so that's how you use the TV inside and outside. The remotes, again, are in the bin up front or the overhead. All right, there's TV back here. We got a little warning on my phone here, but the TV back here in the bedroom. These black out pretty well. These windows black out pretty well. That is your escape window. Just has a lever. You just pop it and throw it open. And that's if you needed to get out of here. Up here is the AC that we're trying to get going. The second one, because it does get hot in here, we have that had that one set up completely yet, but we will soon, and that will definitely help for the evenings. We usually try to have a trash can in here. There's tons of storage up here. Again, this is with the slide in, so you can't quite see everything, but there's a big wardrobe area in this corner, and then some more storage down here. Note when the slide's in, you can get to this one right here. So I try to keep a good set of stuff for each of us in there, so we don't have to put the slide out just to get one shirt. So that's helpful. In this bin, there's you can see the bedding that we're going to put back on and wash, and then it also has the covers here. These are the covers for the driver and passenger windows up front. You see these snaps. Sorry, see these snaps? These snaps are to snap them on. All right, about to talk about the awning. You need to be really responsible about the awning. If you're leaving the rig, put the awning in, because it could get windy when you're not there, and it could be broken when you get back. So if you're on site and you have the awning out and it's okay, everything's great and it's not super windy. If it does get really windy and it tears up the awning, then we're gonna have to put that into a claim and get that fixed. The awning is 20 feet long. It's like a big sail. It's awesome to keep everybody cool and keep some shade and everything, but we do make sure we take care of it. We're gonna cut in just a second, but the awning switch will not work. My daughter is making noises. The awning switch won't work while the engine's running. So I'm gonna turn the engine off and come back and show you the awning. If it's gonna be really hot, guys, don't be too shy. If you're gonna be hot in here with the AC on and you want it to catch up a little bit, maybe you've been out of the rig for a few hours and you didn't have the AC on, now it's hot. You can always turn on the dash AC. It's gonna use some gas for fuel, but it will at least push a lot of cold air try to help the air conditioners cool off the whole rig, because it's hard to keep up. If it's 95, 100 degrees outside, you don't have any shade, you're out in a field, and you're in a big tin can like this, it's gonna get really hot, especially with the windows and stuff. So I'll show you how to cover all that stuff up, but at the same time, it's not gonna be like your house where you set it at 62 and your house stays 62 degrees all day. It's not like that. It's gonna be hard to keep up with to keep it cool. So just keep in mind, you might need to turn on the dash AC just to help cool this off a little bit. And then every now and then give it a little gas, then I'll get it a little bit colder. All right, so right now you can see the slide is out. We're about to put it in. So first thing you want to check is make sure the seat is up far enough to where you're going to have clearance from the slide here to get past the seat. So we're also going to move this vacuum because that would hit. And then so you're going to look there. You want to make sure that these, there's no obstructions on the ground. And then you want to look all the way back, and we've got a little burner down here. This is for electric burner for cooking, which is really handy. And then there's also a broom that folds down with the dustpan. So yeah, we want to check the floor all the way back to make sure there's nothing on the floor that's going to get caught under the slide that could cause any damage. And then we do have the generator on right now, so it's a little louder, but we want to make it nice and cool in here. But yeah, we're going to bring this slide in and then we'll show you some stuff outside. All right, we've got our AC controls here. You just want to put it on a temp, go to cool, and go from there. Usually do high on the fan and leave it on auto, and it will regulate just like your home one. If it's really hot outside, it's going to probably stay on a lot. This switch, don't worry about this. This goes to an outdated system that was here when we bought the rig. It's on the roof, so don't worry about this switch. And then this is your slide out controls. We'll talk in depth about that later.